it's Duskin Mods, here with the brand new computer table that will be used for making the little computers that I have going off based off of the Fallout. Oh, that's a lie. It's kind of based off of Fallout, but it's also based off of Leela's computer off of Futurama.
This is Officer 1BDI, requesting backup.
We'll be there in 5 minutes.
Now, I do not have the first version of this because the first version was basically half-assed put together using tools and such, and as a result, it was something that didn't really survive being taken apart and put back together. But I do have the second version of this computer, which was made basically using hardware components like a conjunction box where I dremelled out USB ports. But this one was basically just kept as a display piece where you could set it up like this and it would be a display piece. Once I get a shelf for that, I can have these all on display. But this one was basically just the first one, and the touchscreen had some issues with it. I at some point made an updated housing. This updated housing needed some more updates to it, where I had screws and such holding together new parts that I made, dremelled out, place for the wires to go, and eventually this part actually became something that was 3D printed and everything. I had that talked about in one of the older videos, why this was put there. But I felt it was necessary to try to make it more compact and just, expand that notch all the way up to the top. But this proved to be unusable because of how compact it was. And this ridge here was supposed to hold the computer on the outside anyway, so this was going to be impractical. I wanted everything to be shielded. So this would hold the battery, this would hold the display, the outside would be the computer. But obviously I didn't go with that. So we went back to this design where everything was all one piece. We had the display in, created a top housing that would go on top of this board to help isolate it from other components. The computer would then be moved down here, which I would then add a ridge so that the computer couldn't slide around, and had the battery stacked on top of the bottom with a vent hole up here, which, given the fact that the computer never really overheated, determined to be something that I did not need to do. I once again tried to make the machine or the computer more compact, which led to this one. And this one proved to be a failure because although it did appear to be more compact in my software, was actually not more compact. It actually ended up being slightly larger than any of these components and just ended up being bulkier in general. So I decided to go against it, which means I 3D modeled an entire version of this for absolutely no reason, except just to become a stepping stone in the progress. No, not all the models are here. I do have more stored in a box, but it's because not all of them would fit on this shelf. And I only need the major stepping stones to go off of. But this is a later version. We had another version with built-in USB ports, which ended up getting moved down here at some point. But just further refining of the design for the outer housing, had this become bigger, which I made it smaller just to have it make it bigger again. But this had other problems because I switched the display that I was using and needed a housing up on the front so that I could in fact have somewhere to store the wires coming out of the HDMI display. This was another stepping stone. It had a ridged box for the power button, so you could no longer accidentally press the power button. It also had another ventilation hole, which later got deleted. These ridges were just there for design, but because of how the printer printed them, they ended up looking ugly, and I decided to go for a more smooth design with them. This was the most important component, being the basically cable box that protrudes from the HDMI display, because the cables protrude out this way, and this whole point of this box because they used to protrude out here. But basically this just serves as a point where now I can coil up some excess cable, which when I get components made specifically for this won't be needed. And I've also redesigned the USB ports to be on the bottom instead of off the side, and have the USB-C cable mount where I can plug in the battery pack, which powers the computer. That's also how you turn it on, is you plug in the battery pack, which will wake up the battery pack, and then press the power button and you'll wake up the computer. I don't think anybody remembers what these are. These are called floppy disks. I actually still have readers for them, and I still do use them. I actually store the models for these on floppy disks. This is one of the painted ones. It actually has the power button hole pre-drilled. These have been smoothed up. This has been pushed out just a little bit further. The housing has been moved up. And this is the first one to ever integrate a mount, because I realized why the computer was overheating and why I deleted these. It's because the computer board that was sitting down here has a built-in fan and pulls air from where this was sitting up. So basically I was covering up the intake fans on that miniature computer board. So now with this, it can draw air in underneath and through, and does not block the holes anymore. This was the first one to iterate this design, and up until now, all of these have had plastic bases. Meaning if I was going to sell these, I would need to modify the base at all times to anybody that wanted to buy one of these. Because up until now, it was just fitted towards my arm. This is also the first one to integrate a slot and 2 bolts. Because this one was going to have the first one, it's actually integrated into there, where it would slide on. So I use the housing that was made for this, for this side, the closing part. So this is the arm connector, and on the bottom covers up all the motherboards and stuff, a bottom connector. That shield would bolt into bolts, so you're not screwing it into plastic anymore. But I had an epiphany of why not just attach a leather strap, like in Fallout, where Fallout has a leather strap. Attach a leather strap to a new one, and I can use that leather strap as an adjustable strap so that other people can wear the computer. So now we have the gold one, the newest one, the one that has all the weight in it, because it is currently the only one with the computer inside. It has an updated 5-inch touchscreen. The power button is right here. It's got the 2 USB ports on the bottom. It's got the USB-C power port off the side. And as you can see, what I've done is hot glue all along the bottom of this, attached the strap, and then drilled through and bolted them in place. Any future iterations that I would sell will have washers in place, but you can't really feel them when you're wearing them on your arm. Can't really feel anything there. I think what I might do is have flaps integrated up here. If not, people can say flaps or no flaps in the comments, and I can sell them on eBay. But these screws work in tandem out with that flap hole on the bottom that you can see, that ridge hole, where you undo these two and the whole thing slides out. So if I go get a screwdriver, or actually I don't need to go get a screwdriver. This is the wrong type of screwdriver. This is in fact the workshop that I'm working on. I completely forgot about that. So all the tools are already in here, but if anybody needs to do maintenance or swap out the power pack, what we can do is remove these two screws. These are going to be your standard machine screws. And the whole panel comes off just like that, revealing the Intel compute board, the battery pack, the USB hub that I use for this, and the screen underneath that I've covered with tape as to not short anything out. Reassembling it is super easy. Just slide it back on, and in fact it can hold itself up just like this, just not in the other direction, because that's where the slot is. It's got a slot that will slide right into that hole. As you guys can see with one of the other iterations, there is in fact a nut in there that these bolts will go into that have been hot glued in place. So with this one, unlike previous iterations, you can take this off and on as many times as you want and not worry about stripping the plastic. You can also tighten them down all the way. Now some of the hot glue has come undone, but that's why the screws are there, as the screws provide a secondary fail-safe. I will be using something other than hot glue in future iterations. And then I will have the pre-drilled holes that when I bolt it on, have washers. The washers will take more pressure than these heads will be able to take. But I can go plug it in real quick. And what plugging it in has done is activate the power button. It will take a second to boot up. It says no signal because the computer hasn't fully woken up yet. But now it says Intel inside. As you guys can see, this is not connected to anything. This computer runs off of 5 volts, 2 amps. I don't remember what the power usage was, but basically this would just be like a prop. I can probably make a few of these that will be Fallout themed, but they do run Windows 10. And it is full Windows 10. At the moment, I have not integrated any kind of keyboards. You can connect keyboards, but if you were to open up, say, these, I would recommend opening up your little tab right there and clicking on tablet mode. And what that will do is automatically bring up the on touchscreen computer. So tablet mode might seem a little annoying, but it allows you to use the virtual keyboard. As you can also see, I'm already updating Steam on here, so let's go back out of tablet mode. Updating Steam. So as you guys can see, I do in fact have Steam on here. Now this computer is not the fastest computer, and unlike some of the ones I'm going to get here pretty soon, this one does not have a percentage gauge because it's running off of a power bank. It's unfortunate, but I think if I really wanted to, or if I really took the time, I could solder in some lights and have those lights up at the top, or have them running across the side or something, 1, 2, 3, 4, and those lights would tell you what the battery percentage is at, so that you could shut it off before the battery dies. Installing update. Install complete. Verifying installation. Yes, well, I'm currently running Steam on my other computers. I don't know if that's going to cause any problems. Yeah, just a heads up, this computer is not going to be the fastest. It is running off of 5 volts, so the future requires patience. Now, if Microsoft were to make something like this, not only would people probably buy it in a hurry, because, you know, there's a lot of gamer fans out there that would like this. There's a lot of Futurama fans that would like this. You've got people making these, like me. You've got other people making them with Raspberry Pis because they think that's the only option, or the only option to get a high battery life. But if Microsoft were to do this, they would get so many customers. Oh, nope. Okay, yeah, my account's not logged in at the moment. We could play Solitaire. Microsoft Solitaire Collection. But anything that you can do on a regular laptop or a regular computer, you can in fact do on this. Remind me later. No, I don't want to open stuff. Let's go ahead and just shut this down. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have a pinned comment later on this video, so it's not going to be immediately up. But I think I'll have a pinned comment from me giving out links to where you can get this computer and this computer screen. Now, all the other components are up to you to try to figure out. I would suggest getting HDMI ribbon cables and such. You can also buy U-turn cables for USB, which is one of the things that I did. I think what I'll have is posted at the end of this video a photograph of the inside listing what part is what, so you guys can build one if you want to build one, or if you just want to buy one. I might list this on eBay and see what I could get for it. But the price of the computer board is a couple $100. You got $50 for the display. So I think all around this is a $350, $400 computer. So maybe $500 with the printed plastic, all the supplies used to make it. Or I could have it done at bidding. Start at $350 for bidding. $350, $400, I don't know. If anybody's got suggestions on if I were to sell these, because I don't even know if I'm going to sell it yet, what I would sell them as, because I mean, given that I could just make more of them. So I'll post up the image right now. And if you guys could give a like and subscribe for more. This has been Duskin Mods. Thank you for watching. Peace out.